scary. It's unbelievably scary. Every part of me, my body feels like rejecting what I'm doing because I'm so used to doing the opposite. Okay, so I didn't do an update last week. And that probably tells you that a lot has been happening in my actual life. And I think I needed time to process the decisions I was making and what I was going through. And although sometimes it's cathartic in a way to sit down and record my thoughts and feelings, almost like a digital diary of life outside of survival, when bigger things happen, as they always do, I think sometimes I just need to process them or try to process them. And I'm not used to just coming on and recording myself going through that process or my thoughts. And a lot has happened quite quickly over the past 2 weeks that I didn't really expect for myself. But that's life, I suppose. And it's almost as if I saw it coming, because I remember noting it down and saying that I was scared of being too happy or too satisfied or content with any aspect of my life in case something happens, in case something bigger happens. And although I really don't want to take it away as that I was fearful of that and the exact thing that I was fearful of happened, that is quite literally what happened. But I don't want that to be the takeaway from it. I just want to take away that this is life and things will come and go. And I need to start reframing the way in which I perceive it. Because regardless of where I'm at, this situation was long overdue, and this thing that's happening now was long overdue for me. So it was going to happen regardless. I think the biggest thing is I've been quite curious about how life will be outside of survival, that I didn't really think, or I didn't really expect for me to face another big obstacle so quickly and so soon. But I feel like this obstacle has come around because I was so busy surviving that I couldn't make decisions that were true by me, that I couldn't make choices that aligned to my values and my standards. I was living to appease everyone and I was living to survive, so none of which would have resulted in me having an epiphany moment or really processing my feelings or really evaluating where am I with my life. None of that would have happened if I'm still in survival. So maybe this was going to happen the moment I came out of survival, and I'm trying to see it that way, as something that was inevitable. But at the same time, I am beginning to feel uncertain about my life again. And that's okay. I'd rather be present in my life than feel like I'm on this roller coaster that I cannot control and I'm completely dissociated from. So even if everything that's happening to me now is not something I foresaw for myself, at least I'm in it and I'm present in it, and it revolves around the decisions and choices I'm making rather than the decisions and choices other people are making for me, and I'm just dissociated and just going through it. So a relationship in my life is coming to an end. I'm not one of those people that can, or hasn't ever been one of those people that can talk about such personal things in real time, and nor will I use this platform to do that. But I guess I'm talking about it as an overview because it fits into the things that are now happening since I've come out of survival. So now I'm recognizing the people I have around me, and I'm recognizing the standards and values that I've let go of because I was so busy trying to just get through life, trying to make other people happy, trying to fit by their standards and their values, that I lost myself along the way, and especially in my relationships. So maybe this was a natural progression for me. This was going to happen regardless, but it still hurts. And I don't think I'm there yet to be that that personal. It's strange because I can be personal about how I've lived through life and be really upset about the way I think when I'm trying to live life now. Easily. I don't feel embarrassment. I don't feel like I need to cover it up. But when it comes to this topic, I feel embarrassment. I feel like I need to cover it up. I feel responsible because it's not just attached to me. So anything I say will leave a mark. And especially if I'm doing it online, it will leave that digital footprint. So I am really cautious and careful of that. But I do want to acknowledge that it's been hard. It's been hard coming to such a decision. It was long overdue. I am terrified of what life will be outside of this relationship. So I'm going from life outside of survival to life outside of a relationship. But I have to do this. I have to do this, just like I had to push myself out of just functioning, out of just surviving. I have to push myself out of something that's become a habit for me. Things that I have normalized, things that have transgressed my values and standards that I thought I held dearly, but clearly I didn't, and allowed them to be disregarded for so long, and allowed myself to be disregarded for so long in the process. I don't think this topic is something I'm going to discuss in real time, so this is probably all I have to say about it. But maybe at some point when I'm through it or I'm at a point where I can truly reflect on it and I'm done processing parts of it, maybe I'll never stop processing it, because it's such a huge aspect of my life, or was such a huge aspect of my life. But I just want to give it that privacy. I think it can be helpful to talk about certain things, but I think there's a time and place and platform for that, for me personally, and right now is not that time, place, or platform. So maybe part of life outside of survival is learning how to exist within uncertainty, especially when it is to do with things that I believed were an anchor in my life, that they were never going to change. And now they are. Maybe it's making these bold decisions for yourself when you are finally present and can finally acknowledge where you lost yourself, where you weren't you anymore, and where slowly the decisions and choices you were making were again just a reaction and a response to you surviving and not to you living. And that's why now that I'm living to some extent outside of survival, I can't accept certain things. and I can't be okay with certain things. And that is why such a big change, such a big anchor in my life is being removed. Funnily enough, another update is I'm over TikTok. I think for me, it was all about conquering the fear of posting without caring about what other people thought. That was always my ultimate goal. My goal wasn't to be someone huge on social media. Maybe it was to also align with people and maybe they can resonate with me, but it was nothing more than that. And I had my fun. I posted a few things here and there, but I don't have the passion for it to be a certain way, the way in which TikTok works now. I feel a lot of it is created. Even when you feel like it's a natural conversation someone's having, it is all about what fits their page. It is all about what fits their content style, and that's great for them. But for me, it was just to be myself, and I did that, and I survived. I came out the other end of it. I didn't think anything of it, and I don't see a reason to continue it in my life. I'm pretty much content with having tried and leaving it. I feel like YouTube is slightly different. With YouTube, I want to talk about my deeper thoughts and feelings and just have them there. And also this sense of, are people watching, are people not watching, is not there with YouTube. Yes, you can see if people have viewed your content, but I don't go on and I don't look and I'm like, oh, how many people are following me? How many people are subscribing to me? How many people are watching me? I don't see it that way as I do with TikTok. And I think that's where the rabbit hole is, and I can quickly find myself dropping down it with TikTok. I don't want it to be about who's viewing me, who isn't. Am I getting the attention? Am I not? Just defeats the purpose of me being authentic, really. So I had that fun period with it. And yeah, I'm over it. And I'm kind of glad I'm over it. To be honest, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do this as a full-time thing. I used to think it's quite easy. Like you just go on and you just say whatever you want and you'll get the attention over time and you'll build that following and people will resonate with you and all of those things. And another aspect of it is the time in which it's happening. So I feel like in the past, TikTok, creators were rare in the sense that if you started in the early years, then you would have a great following because there wasn't much comparison, there wasn't much comparative opportunity there for people. So they would tune in with whoever was on TikTok. But now that's not the case. You have everyone on TikTok. My mum is on TikTok before I ever was. So it's not the same. It is like, it's more consumable now and it is more saturated. And that's absolutely fine. I just don't find myself putting that much effort and time into something that doesn't really derive the authenticity I was chasing for. It's done its bit, and now I'm going to move forward from it because after that, after a certain point, it's not giving me that. And also, I don't want to lose myself in the process of trying to fit what is working on TikTok. So, talking content is working, dancing content is working, makeup transitions are working. And although it was fun to try all that and I did like a few videos, it is not something I would want to sustain long term. Maybe one day I'll be comfortable enough to want to post all of that all the time, but I'm not there. And I think just being on YouTube and posting this is big enough for me. So I'm glad I tried TikTok. I'm actually really proud of myself for doing it, but not everything you overcome in terms of your fear has to become a part of your life. It didn't have to become a part of my life, and I've chosen it not to become a part of my life, even though I've overcome a fear. And that's absolutely fine. Sometimes overcoming something just gives you enough freedom to decide whether you wanted to do it in the first place or not, whether you actually are attracted towards that or not, whether it actually fits your values or your likes and your dislikes or not. And for me, the judgment is, it's fun. I would post in private to family and friends for myself just for a laugh, but it's not something that I want to do as a creator of content. I do think that since coming out of survival, I'm now beginning to assess, where am I? More than who am I? I think at the start it was more around who am I? What do I want? Like what things work for me, what don't. And that part is still there, and it's still going to be something I grow into and understand about myself. But now I am thinking about, where am I in terms of the decisions and choices I've made and where they've landed me. Do I want to stay here now or not? That could, no, in terms of location, in terms of careers, in terms of my relationships, that is what I'm now beginning to assess. There's so many things where I thought, if I was ever on my own, or if I ever had the opportunity, I'd try and do this. And now that is the case. And now I can do those things. So I am beginning to reevaluate exactly where I am at life and whether it really fits where I want to be. And with things changing in my life, some within my control and some without my control, I can now start to choose how I want to build my life and focus on exactly where I want to build it, which areas I want to focus on, alongside figuring out who I am. Because the more I make those decisions about, for example, where I'm living right now, do I want to stay here? Do I want to explore the world? Do I want to try something different? That in itself will help me discover myself in other ways, making choices like that. But honestly, I'm excited, but I'm scared, and probably more scared because I've not really ever made such big decisions for myself. Everything I've decided to do has been aligned to someone in one way or another, whether that's my relationship, whether that's my family, another form of relationship, whether that's my career, my job, my manager. Everything has been aligned to someone else in terms of the decisions I've made. But for the first time ever, I can make decisions about where I want to be at for me, and it's not attached to anyone. So that is a little bit scary. Because what if I try something, moving away, traveling, whatever it may be, and I just be rubbish at it? So that part is in the back of my head. Also, it's navigating my family and my relationships. So making my mom understand that I want to try certain things in life that I wasn't able to do growing up and within my relationship. And now I have the opportunity to do those things. So convincing her or giving her some peace in the idea of me being on my own is not as scary as she thinks it is. And also convincing myself of the same, that I can make choices and I can make decisions, and they may be mistakes, but I shouldn't be scared of making mistakes. And I think our culture does that really well. We grow up being taught that mistake is the worst. Like making mistakes is us making a choice, and if it goes wrong, it's like a never-ending nagging, a never-ending reminder of why we should have listened to our parents or that aunt or that uncle or that relationship. So it really scares us from making a choice, because choices can lead to mistakes, and we don't want a mistake. We don't want to own a choice because it could become a mistake. And I want to come out of that fear. I think that's quite prevalent in our culture, and I want to come out of that. And I know there will be days I'm going to feel really, really down about any choice I make. It doesn't matter whether it's aligned to someone or not aligned to someone. I know I'll feel down, because that's what happens when you're doing something different from what you normally do. There will be periods where you just feel so troubled, so anxious, so fearful. Just like I'd mentioned, being scared of being happy, being scared of being content. It's the same with making choices. something I now have to own, not someone has dictated upon me. This is something I choose for myself. And that's a big thing, I think, as a South Asian girl, we struggle to carry, because we know that the repercussion of making a mistake is not family opening their arms to you and being like, it's okay, everyone makes mistakes, you'll be fine. Like some people do get that, but I didn't receive that, and I think a lot of people in our culture don't receive that. Instead, we receive, the backlash, the constant remarks and reminders of the mistake, of the choice we made that led to a mistake, so which really puts us off. And honestly, it pressurizes us to make choices and decisions that are aligned to what other people want from us, especially when it comes to relationships and marriage. When we get to that stage in our life, it's more around, okay, what do family want me to do, rather than what do I want for myself, because we are that scared of making our own choices. I think we talk a lot about, oh, if you don't try it, you'll never know, and to fail is to know what it could be and couldn't be. But I think having a mistake is slightly different. With failure, at least you chose to do something and that could be dictated upon you, you chose it. And then you failed and you're like, all right, I'm going to learn from that. And it's painful and it's not great. But with a mistake, it's almost like, if you got the courage to choose something for yourself and it didn't go the way that you had intended it to, it is out of your control. It's like you are constantly reminded of that and you have to live with that, which deters you from making additional choices in your life. So I do want to overcome that. I don't want to think about what is the safest option for me here. How can I cause the least disruption? How can I make everyone else happy? I want to come out of that frame of thinking. So I think that starts by me looking at, where am I in my life? Is this where I want to be? What can I change? What choices can I make that are mine to make and mine to get wrong and make a mistake on? And then remember that a mistake is a mistake. It's not the end of the world. Reframe our mind to understand that I can make mistakes. Just like I allow other people to make mistakes. Just like I give other people the liberty to do something wrong and then me console them and make them feel okay about it. I should do the same for myself. So I definitely want to get to that point. I know it's going to be, that one's going to be really tricky for me. I'm already struggling with that right now. The choice I've made with my relationship is something that's going to follow me forever. I know everyone is going to have a lot to say when it comes out, and yeah, if it doesn't go the way I've intended it to, then I'm not going to hear the end of it. So I just need to mentally prepare myself. I think throughout this update, I've just been, I seem like I'm so put together and I'm not fearful in any way. And honestly, it's not true. I'm terrified. I'm really terrified. I keep reliving everything in my head. I keep assessing everything, because I'm just so worried about whether, in the process of choosing myself, I'm only choosing myself, if that makes any sense. That in the process of finding myself, I'm only looking at myself. And in the process of deciding what's right for me, I'm only looking at what's right for me and no one else. So I am constantly reassessing everything like never before. I'm just a bit terrified of getting it wrong or being classed as selfish, even though putting myself first or being a bit selfish is something I should have done a long time ago. But again, it's what I'm used to. It's the habits. It's the framing in my head. It's the fear, the constant fear. And today is probably a good day for me to be recording this because I don't feel it as immensely. But these past 2 weeks, I've barely been able to sleep, barely been able to eat, barely been able to focus. And it almost feels like I've taken steps back. But at the same time, because I'm doing something that's so difficult, something I would have never pushed myself to do, something for me, I know that although in the practical sense it looks like I'm going backwards, but internally I feel like I've made such a huge step forward. This constant feeling of implosion that I've had, which resulted in me even starting this channel or any form of social media, I feel like that is finally subsiding a little bit because I'm choosing myself. And I'm choosing myself not bravely, not fearlessly. I'm choosing myself in a panic. I'm choosing myself scared. I'm choosing myself uncertain. But I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing myself with the fear of judgment. But I'm choosing myself. So when I think of it like that, it does feel like maybe I'm making such huge progress that I cannot see right now in front of me because everything around it feels difficult. Everything around it feels so tough. And it's scary. It's unbelievably scary. Every part of me, my body feels like rejecting what I'm doing because I'm so used to doing the opposite. But I'm still doing it. And it's not because I'm secretly incredibly positive about it all turning out great. Of course, I pray that it turns out great. I mean, that would be amazing. But that's not how life works. And it may turn out terribly. But at least I got to choose for once. At least I got to put myself forward for once, myself first for once. But yeah, some of it genuinely scares me. Even posting genuinely scares me. As brave as I want to be about it, I'm so scared of people seeing this or I'm me seeing it myself in the future and thinking, what was I doing? But I do want this noted down somewhere. I do want to look back at this stage in my life so that when I reach that point where I conquered that fear, and whether it was good or a bad decision, I chose it. And I can look back and say, look, this is where it came from. This is how I started. This is how I did it. And I can recognize and acknowledge my hard work towards it. I can acknowledge and not minimize myself because that is what I love to do. Minimize myself. That is what I've been taught to do. Everyone comes before me and everyone is above me. And I'm just, the person who serves. So I want to be able to look back and say, no, I served myself for once. Aside from God, I served myself. That's a huge achievement for me. If I can do that, if I can stick by that without taking steps back, without demonizing myself for picking myself. The battle is more in here with myself than it is with anyone else. Because whatever people have said to me over the years, whatever I've grown up seeing and the experiences I've had have resulted in my internal voice being them and not me. So it's hard to decipher sometimes whether I'm talking to my genuine voice or to the voices of others that I've incorporated within myself. On one positive note, out of all of this, I promised myself I'd go to a park and read. I read. I went to parks. I went to loads of parks. Family have been a big part in the past 2 weeks, which is crazy for me to say. I've always been, I don't want to say anti-family, but I've always isolated myself from family. I've always been apprehensive of family. I've always been scared of the repercussions and responsibilities of having family around. And suddenly now having them around has given me so much peace and comfort, has given me so much strength. And it's funny because my mom will not even say things that that normally would make me so mad, but I'm okay with it because I have other family members who I can relate with, and that makes it so much easier and better for me. I feel like I can take on her words and her criticism sometimes a lot more easily. And even she is changing slightly, maybe because she sees me changing, maybe because she sees that I'm being strong in what I'm saying and what I'm wanting, and that's changing her mindset too. So having family around, and I know I discussed this last time, that the idea that I continuously dissociate, I've always struggled with that. Having them around, I'm present, and it's great. And even with the sicky feeling that I mentioned last time, this feeling of feeling sick and everything is wrong and the world is wrong, it doesn't go away. It's not gone away, but I'm beginning to be okay with it a lot more, and I'm beginning to manage it a lot more, and it's not coming up as frequently anymore. So it's giving me so much hope to consistently stay present and not default to dissociation, which is what I do normally. Not run away to dissociation to comfort myself. So in that note, it's been really positive. Everything else I'm so uncertain about, and maybe that is what life outside of survival is meant to be. Because in survival, what I was doing was living with the certainty that I'm going to be surviving. And now I'm outside of it. I'd rather have the uncertainty of what life will be like living than have the certainty of surviving. Yeah, let's see. Let's see how I do. And I'm probably not going to be the best with always putting updates on here. Sometimes it's cathartic to talk about it, but sometimes I want to keep the privacy, and I want to process it first and then reflect on it. So I'll probably do my best to keep on top of this, just even for myself. But I don't know if anyone is watching and this somehow, I don't want to scare you off coming out of functioning and surviving. I hope this shows you that, one, it's not going to be that easy, because I know that fear always lives in our head. Like, what will life be outside? And it's not easy. It's up and down. It's really up and down trying to live. But at least I'm living on my terms now. And that's amazing. It's the best feeling. It's something I'm excited for. I'm excited to continue doing. Because I just feel like there's so much out there for me now. I really hope I continue to build that confidence to achieve it. And I really hope I build up the courage to make mistakes and not be scared of getting things wrong, and give myself the reassurance and the care and the support and the love that I would give other people if they were in my situation. Invest in myself. I really hope I do that.